So, reflecting on my video, I thought it was a lot of fun to see how people reacted to standardized tests and their opinions on them. I got a lot of negative reviews, which I expected, on standardized tests, but a few people said how they thought it was, and they didn't like them, but they thought it was a fair um, test for how students' learning is ranked. So I thought that was really interesting. I had a pretty good diversity of student or of uh, male to female ratio, and it was interesting to see how their responses differed, but also how they were the same. But overall, it was a fun task, and it's really fun just hearing others' opinions that have all gone through the same or different experiences of the same school system. What is your experience with standardized testing?
The only ones I really remember are in high school when we took the SAT and ACT, and I took them 6 times. And I remember in middle school and stuff, it didn't really matter, but it's like really important in high school.
I experienced a lot of standardized testing. I definitely did.
So I took the SAT 4 times, the ACT a couple times, and then I took New York State tests in elementary school.
Where do you think the United States ranks among countries with their system of education? Like, when all students take these international tests, where do you think the United States ranks?
Like the 20 to 10 range.
So you think higher end?
Like,
They're one of the better performing countries?
yeah,
And why do you think that?
just when I think of all the countries total, it's less about how good it is here and more about how many have really solid.
Probably pretty high because public education is very accessible.
Probably average.
So right in the middle?
Yeah, as average it'll get.
Okay.
I don't think we're doing anything phenomenal.
And what was your opinion of those tests?
I didn't like the time constraints, and also they are geared towards boys' brains and how they think, so I thought that it was a little biased.
Okay. And then is there any way we can make it better or more fair towards women?
I think that if you take away the time constraints or just base it on how they do in class or something like that, or their GPA, it would be easier because people have test anxiety and they get nervous when they're taking the test, so they could be really smart but do bad on the test.
I think they're a little bit unfair. Some people, I'm really bad at test taking and I'm a really slow test taker, so when there's a time limit, I can never finish, which always hurts me a lot.
Do you think it would be better if there was no time limit and just completion?
I think it could be helpful for people who are slower at test taking.
They could be improved, but how's that? I think they shouldn't have time limits. I think most people get too much test anxiety for time limits, and it just makes it worse, and people end up failing because they're too scared of the time limit.
I think the SAT and the ACT are pretty useful in determining preparedness for college. I feel pretty accurate to what we're looking in high school, but I feel the middle school and elementary school tests kind of didn't do as great of a job because they focused on really basic information, and I feel at that time there's not much deviation in what kids know.
All you're doing with standardized testing is teaching kids how to take a test, which isn't helpful. It's not knowledge that they need. You don't take tests in the real world, you just do things.
I feel they don't really accurately judge how smart you are.
Why wouldn't they judge how smart you are?
Well, I feel there's just better representations, and certain school systems could cause certain kids to have higher grades, more privileged school systems than other public schools.
For you, what is standardized testing?
So standardized testing to me is a way that colleges can look at all prospective students with using one exam, because schools can have different tests and different courses that may not be offered at certain ones. So it's a way to compare everyone equally.
And why do you think it's important?
I think it's important because not that it gives everyone a fair opportunity, because some people don't perform as well on standardized tests as they do in school, for their GPA and everything. But there's only so many ways to compare every student in one way.
Were you ever prepped for those tests?
I have never prepped it's just schoolwork.